was almost midnight. Samuel Adams and the rest of the Sons of Liberty began to disguise themselves as Mohawk Indians. No one would ever know who did this deed. But in the end, they would only know how much further the American colonists were willing to go to fight for what they believed was right. There are many causes that led up to the Boston Tea Party. After the British victory during the French and Indian War, many conflicts arose between the American colonies and English government. Although there were many conflicts between the colonies and the Parliament, the main problem leading up to the Tea Party was caused by the Tea Act of 1773. This act was passed by British Parliament on May 10, 1773. The Tea Act granted the British East India Company a monopoly on tea sales in American colonies in order to save the company from bankruptcy. This, along with many other taxes, were placed on the American colonies. The British government felt that they should help pay for the war and for the cost of stationing soldiers at forts across the new western frontier. The Americans didn't see the sense in sending money to England to pay for troops that needed to be much closer to home, so they began to revolt against the tax. The Sons of Liberty were a group of patriots led by Samuel Adams that carried out the Boston Tea Party as well as many other acts. They were derived from a debate in Parliament on the Stamp Act in 1765. The organization was formed to protect the rights of colonists, protest against British rule, and fight taxation by the British government. The Sons of Liberty were strongly against any unnecessary form of taxation and knew they had to do something in order to prove this point to Parliament over the Tea Act. Incited by the Sons of Liberty, many people gathered at the Old Smith Meeting House at 10 a.m. on December 16, 1773, to decide what was going to be done about the Tea Act and plan the Boston Tea Party. When the three tea ships, the Dartmouth, Eleanor, and Beaver, arrived in the Boston harbor on November 28, December 2nd, and December 15, 1773, the colonists demanded that the tea be returned to England. It never was. After this, the colonists knew it was time to put their plan into action. On the night of December 16, 1773, about 150 colonists against the tea tax set out to prove their point. All the colonists partaking in the midnight raid disguised themselves as Indians, wearing headdresses, rags, and soot on their faces in an attempt to disguise their identities. The colonists boarded the three ships, careful not to damage anything other than the tea in the process, and threw more than 340 chests of tea into the Boston harbor. The entire protest lasted about 3 hours, and while nobody was physically harmed in the process, there was a tremendous financial damage done afterwards. The 340 chests of tea would have cost over $1 million today and could have brewed over 18 million cups of tea. After the Boston Tea Party, the harbor badly smelled and was shut down until the tea was paid for. This was implemented under the Intolerable Acts of 1774, which unified the American colonists even more to fight against British rule. Benjamin Franklin had offered to pay for the tea that was dumped as long as the harbor reopened, but the British refused, so they never compensated. No one ever identified the participants of the Tea Party, and where the act took place is now said to be a busy intersection, even though once underwater.